Today on the program, we look at a developing area of law, telecommunications, media and technology, also known as TMT. It's an emerging area with lots of opportunities and potentials for legal practitioners, the stakeholders, and even the public at large. Our guest, Mr. Adeleke Alex Adedipe, will shed more light on this sector in our interview segment. We also have some of the highlights from the annual lecture of the Lagos branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, plus our weekly recap of the top trending stories from the courtrooms. Hello and welcome to this episode of Law Weekly. I am Shola Sheli. Now, this interview we're about to feature is one that should interest a lot of lawyers, especially the younger wigs. My guest tells me that TMT, as it's popularly known, has the potentials to create so many jobs. Mr. Adeleke Alex Adedipe is a corporate commercial lawyer with expertise in telecommunication, media and technology, TMT. He also specializes in banking and finance, capital market, real estate, just to mention a few. He's advised on several landmark transactions, locally and internationally, and is a staunch advocate of data privacy, cyber protection, and technological advancement in all sectors of the economy. But today we talk TMT. I began the interview by asking him to shed more light on this emerging area of law and how it has developed, particularly in Nigeria, over the years.
Okay, telecommunications, media and technology. Yes, it is an emerging area of law in Nigeria. And on a general scale in the economy, it is a growing area of practice. So I say to you, for example, from the let's go back to the early 2000s, when the likes of the MTNs and the Airtels of this world came into Nigeria, and they've contributed immensely into the economy of the country. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So in general, for us, we've picked this area of practice. Not only this area of practice, amongst many other areas of practice, but we have special interest in this area of practice because we actually think that as a firm, this is an area that is going to take the country and the economy in general to the next level. Tech is the future. Even for us as lawyers, gone are the days where lawyers would write their briefs a shorthand. You now need to use your computer for everything. You send your emails and you receive clients' instructions via email. You do all your work on the go. You respond to your emails on your phones. So you have a system, and you have a situation where all of your work is being done via tech. And again, let's take an area in Nigeria where the government has paid a lot of interest, and even foundations and NGOs across the world have paid a lot of interest. Financial inclusion. We can't achieve financial inclusion in Nigeria without technology.
So you did say that tech is the future. What opportunities would you say exist for lawyers in this sector?
Like I say to people that have asked me this same question, I say that for every advent in the economy, there is the help of lawyers that must come along the way. So, for example, as an investor who wants to invest in tech space in Nigeria, would need to start from the least of it all, which is normal business advisory. What does the regime? How does the regime operate in Nigeria? What do we get out of the country? How do I bring in my money and repatriate my funds? How do I even register a company in Nigeria? That's the basics, right? And lawyers would have to provide that service. We move on and on. We can go on and on to funding and financing and due diligence services, provisions, and all of it. It's a big market, and it's going to be a big boom for lawyers who are ready to play a role in it.
Would you say that the country has the necessary skills, enough practitioners with the necessary skills for this emerging area of law, or is this something that we need to build capacity for?
We have to build capacity and continue to build capacity. We have to train and retrain. We have to attend conferences. We have to help ourselves to be able to grow within this space.
So what sort of trainings currently exist, or what other kind of trainings should lawyers get to have the skills?
We don't have a lot of it. I mean, locally here at the moment. Yes, offshore there are quite a number of trainings in respect of TMT, but again, there are conferences. So let's take, for example, for us at DOA, we organized a conference, a breakfast session a few days back, and the idea of the conference was to give people the opportunity to see what is in it. And we were listening to stakeholders, from private equity fund guys to the tech guys from the banks, to even the main tech people providing the real service. And we heard them talk. It was for us a knowledge sharing process.
You talked about financial inclusion earlier. So this practice of TMT, is it interrelated with banking and finance, or do they have any impact on each other?
Financial inclusion, simply in a nutshell, is my grandmother is in the village and there are no banks to attend to her. How do we get her to be financially included in the system? And one of the ways that the CBN and a couple of stakeholders have tried to look at this is to ensure, for example, that we have an opportunity where the mobile money payments operators can function, and the mobile money operators allows you to sit in your village and permits you to be able to transfer money via your wallet just if you have a mobile phone. Again, that's tech involved, and that's also financial inclusion in a nutshell.